What's up, listeners? JTM here, and I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Serviceware. Serviceware is an Apple-authorized service provider located in Pleasanton, California. This family-owned and operated business started in 1981 as an electronics repair shop and has since become an industry leader in both phone and computer repair for all of your Apple product needs. Owner Justin Carvaccio is also an avid listener to the podcast, and as TTG's first official sponsor, we couldn't be more excited for the partnership. So next time your Apple product's on the fritz, cut the long lines at the Apple Store and shop local. Head on over to Serviceware where you can rest assured that Justin and his team will give it back to you better than they found it. Learn more at serviceware.com. That's servicewr.com. Enjoy the show.
Hit the buttons. It is a Friday, basically.
Jeremy tried to pour the wine with the capsule.
She put it back on after I fucked
No,
her.
I didn't. You can't do that.
Amazing.
Act like professionals.
Wow. This is wild. Who are we? I can't
You're like a
find
new person over here.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, I thought you meant me. Yo. Welcome back, everybody. It is me. It is I. It is we. This is JTM in the kitchen. We are here back in a brand new studio, which we cannot wait to share with you. We'll give you guys a moment to lock in on Spotify if you are watching us live. Otherwise, I'm here with the one and only SVC, Savannah Banana.
Hi.
And the well-traveled
Oh, jeez.
Matt Suze. How you doing over there, bud?
I'm great, dude.
Wow.
Glad to make it.
Long time since we've all been in the same room.
Yeah.
So I can cheers to that.
I get behind that.
I miss you guys in real
Cheers.
life. So it's good to have you back.
You don't miss me. I've been destroying you in real life.
Look, you won one thing.
Savannah's aggressive. Watch out.
The guy, he talked to me way too long. I still wouldn't have finished, but that's my excuse. Savannah and I got in a...
Hit us up at the TTG friendship bracelet.
Yeah, we were an unscheduled competition. It's like when you sat down, you made eye contact, and you're like, oh shit, this is real.
It wasn't a competition until you realized I was doing way better than you, and then you got all
pushed a kid.
butthurt.
Oh, here
Savannah
we go.
pushed a kid on the ground.
I did not push a kid.
I 100% believe that. I've
I'm not
seen
saying
her.
I
It
wouldn't
was Mary
push a kid.
Blitzer's kid.
Hey, if there's a game to be played,
This kid is my age. I'm literally the age of Mary's son.
downplay it all you want, Savannah.
Downplay it all you want.
I didn't push a kid.
The people know the
I'm not
truth.
above pushing a kid, but I didn't
She
this time.
bodied him.
Oh man, I just remembered I forgot to throw my wall ball away. Sorry, Albert.
Oh man, don't be that guy.
Speaking of
just
pushing
remembered.
kids.
Don't
It's
be
like,
that.
I know you guys know this because servers, you're like getting ready to go to bed at night and all of a sudden you're
no.
like, table four's ketchup. And it's like, it's hours later and you're like,
Yeah.
I never brought him that ketchup.
Yep. It's the worst feeling.
You know what I mean?
No, that's 100%. I think like the original feeling is like you still wake up from the paper that was due 13 years ago.
Right.
That's like the original trauma. Yeah, 100%. Because
Well, I never turned in papers. Mine was all condiments.
Sometimes I have like
I've got 100
nightmares.
napkin rolls. Can I go now?
I gotta go.
I'll have like nightmares that I've been in a class like all year, but I never showed up. And it's like the last like month before like a semester ends and I haven't showed up and there's like all these things. So essentially it's impossible for me to make up for it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those
No,
nightmares.
same. I generally don't remember my dreams, but when I do, they're fucked up.
They're fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching, I think it was actually a reality television show, so it wasn't real, except for the part that it was real, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they said if you happen to intake a lot of cannabis, you might not remember your dreams as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that reads.
Honestly,
It like
it's not-
suppresses REM
not a
sleep
bad
dream.
thing.
It suppresses REM sleep dreams, and that why people that tend to ingest a lot before nighttime do it for a long period of time, then you don't. You usually end up
girlfriend.
having crazy vivid dreams.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep. Definitely recommend you listen to that book or read it. Why We Sleep.
I bet that's a trip.
There's a bunch of there's some scary stuff in there too. There's some things
what?
where like people like
Nightmares.
will have lucid dreaming and will be awake but can't wake up. And so, you know, when you do the twitch and you like wake up, it's your body like turning off all the stuff to like paralyze you so you
Oh,
sleep.
when you jump off the
Yeah.
cliff and you finally hit the ground?
So like you're like,
And you
oh.
finally wake up.
And like some people won't get that. Those people sleepwalk. So their body
Yeah.
never shuts off their, You know, so that way
Interesting.
you're moving in your mind and everything else, right? Because your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what's happening in your mind.
Yeah.
It's all the same. And so if your body doesn't turn everything off, you end up sleepwalking. That's sleepwalkers. But on the opposite side, you could wake up and your body doesn't turn that on.
What do you mean it
Yeah.
doesn't? You
Meaning
can wake
you're
up.
awake,
Yeah.
but you can't move and you can't talk.
Oh, sleep paralysis. Yeah.
But people will get that for like a long period of
if
time.
I sleep
Whoa.
too long, I'll get like sleep paralysis where I'm like,
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
scary.
like wake up.
But you'll just
But
be
my
like,
my friend kind of recently has that where what she's dreaming, she's like acting out. And so she had to put a bunch of like motion lights like in her house so that as
because
she
she gets
moves
up and moves
through-
around?
Yeah,
Or
so
they.
like,
We don't know if it's a
so
girl or not. We're
I
not
guess I
telling
said
about
she.
it.
So they.
Shush.
Damn it!
Yeah,
I
them.
fucked it up. Cancel everything.
damn it. Sorry, Barbara.
But
Sorry, Barb.
she once called 911 because she thought she was
In
and
trouble
like she
during her.
no she was having a vivid dream that one of her coworkers was like having a medical emergency. So she got up out of bed and she was trying to call 911 for it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Look, I
So
believe
she
that.
got
wow.
she got a bunch of like motion lights to like try and help her like wake up when she has them, and they're not like they're so inconsistent, and that's kind of part of like the problem.
That's wild. I've never
wild.
interacted with someone. I've never seen it. I've never like heard a first person story. So like the fact that like really happens to people outside of just like the movies and like the TV
Do you guys
dramas.
not wake up? I
Yeah.
didn't realize that I actually kind of have something like this until Nakoa told me.
The worst I do is like I'll give Erica
throw
a
an elbow
nice
at
elbow
Erica.
chuck to the forehead and wake her up. But like outside of that, a fart here and there, a snore here and there. I'm like,
That's
Wait,
all
you
right.
guys
doesn't get
don't
too
have
crazy.
like anything?
Yeah.
Nakoa will tell me sometimes about I'll just be awake and I'll be like, well, there's snakes all over the ceiling. And I'll be like, there's snakes all over the ceiling. And I'll be like standing up, apparently trying to like rectify the situation of the snakes.
no.
And Nicole will be like, Savannah, you're sleeping. There's no snakes on the ceiling. And I'll have
Snakes
like
on the
these.
plane.
Yeah,
better
I'll
to
have
help
these
you
like
with that too than Nakoa.
I'll
Yeah.
have these like hallucinations, and it takes me quite a bit to realize that I'm awake. And then what's even better is that I apparently get defensive about it. And I'll be like, or I'll be like, I don't know,
Gets angry.
and I'll like laugh, and go back to sleep or
Wow.
something. But then their parent to Nakoa, sometimes he can't tell if I'm actually awake or asleep because it seems like I'm completely coherent. My
That
eyes are
is-
like open, and so it takes.
Okay, here
Wow.
let
Well,
me
we-
finish
we
bringing this
derailed
in.
this podcast
So
quick.
welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Fucking snakes on this.
There are snakes
Oh,
on
wow.
the plane. It's been a while since we've all been in the same room. Matt's been traveling like crazy. Good travel. Things are going well. Savannah has graduated. She
Yeah.
has crazy lucid dreams. I quit my job, and things have been going on. So we're excited to get back in the studio. It's only been 3 weeks. With that said, been getting still the last episode we did with Tom Hall.
Yeah. That was fun.
People have been digging that.
Was
one.
that the
only
last
been
one
3
that published?
weeks?
Is that
was
the last time
one
we
that published.
recovered?
It's been 3 weeks.
We
It's been-
recorded? That's
yeah.
the last recorded one? Okay,
been
so
a
I
little bit.
didn't miss anything.
It's been 3 Tuesdays. It's been
Okay.
3. It hasn't
All
been
right.
that long, but it feels
It
time
feels
flies.
way
Oh,
longer.
it feels really long.
Time flies.
Yeah.
So like we kind of
kinda
I guess we
fucked
kind of
up.
took May off. For those that have missed us, Paul Halverson texts me every Tuesday, and he's like, "Another fucking week," and I'm just like,
Oh,
"God damn it."
dang.
Paul
Keeping
just
us
wants something to
accountable.
troll us about.
Wait till we go live and he
Wait
like
till-
does it in real
Oh,
time.
man.
Paul will troll us live.
100%.
cool.
He'll be like right there in the window.
Yeah.
But the studio's been
Halverson's
renovated.
hilarious.
Advanced Creative Studio has grown.
Yeah.
So if you're watching us on Spotify, you'll notice some new. That's not backsplash, but back
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Backdrop.
Sure.
Backdrop action.
We're in a new fresh studio right next door. It's actually used to be the Altamont offices. It's a good look.
It's
It
now
feels
like
good.
one building. There's a hole in the wall now that connects.
Yeah, we've got a bit more hospitality capabilities. It comes with a kitchenette,
Wow.
a groovy bathroom. We've got a commercial sink, an incinerator. It's going
Cool.
down.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We're coming up, guys.
But take a look if you're listening right
Yeah,
now.
take a look. We're talking with the guys, and this is something we'll get. We'll get a script. We'll get more dialed in how we talk about it. But part of this expansion is that them, Advanced Creative, our producers, our hosts, are looking to expand upon this particular a la carte service. So if you are someone who is interested in a podcast, and not being too specific, Apple, Augustine, and Rachel Kleist. they're looking for people to help fill this space.
Called
So
them out. Damn.
And here's the other thing too. I like truly believe in this. There's a pretty large employers here in Livermore. We have the Lawrence Livermore Lab, all this stuff.
Oh, man.
The fact that those companies aren't investing in internal podcasts just for their work like spaces,
Yeah.
right? So they could talk about what's happening inside there, what are new initiatives that are going. Like you guys need to take advantage of something like this, because if you could sit down and talk about it, even if you did it once a month specific to your guys' company stuff with a few of your executives or even just like middle management stuff, and made it to where it published out, you would have a relationship with everybody that works inside of your business that you don't see on a day-to-day or maybe even know. And then you could start to revolve different departments through here and stuff like that, and it would create a lot of connectivity, and you could build your audience with inside your own business. So not only for individuals but for big employers, you guys should take advantage of this.
Yeah, that's a Gary V take right there, if I've heard one. He's been advocating for podcasts along with a whole bunch of people, but like especially in like that capacity.
Yeah.
If you're not
Maddie V.
the Maddie, the Maddie V baby.
Maddie
Go ahead and give him a
V.
follow.
Maddie Vaynerchuk.
No, but like, particularly Gary, I've heard him say is like, if you're not using this podcast platform, because, if you've
Big
never
Red
listened to
Fuck
Gary V, he's a little more discerning in his takes.
Right.
In the same capacity that you're, in some regards, wasting your time on social media or on this, that, and the other platform. Like this is 100%. This is a great way to start reaching out to your clients.
Yeah.
Versus the $2,500 graphic that you spent money on.
It's a waste of money. Nobody watches or listens anyways.
You
Like,
know what I'm
I
saying?
fast forward all your commercials. So
I'd rather listen to some like there's a whole bunch of what's a brand that you follow that you wouldn't mind? I would listen to a lot of people that I follow.
Yeah.
pretty much any of them. And
Almost
what we,
anybody I follow.
What we found and had a ton of success with the brands for the podcast and stuff like that. And I tell them straight up, they're like, oh, we'll do this code. Or I'm like, no, I'm not doing none of that shit. Here's what we want. You're just going to pay us up front monthly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build a relationship with you. So that way, like Jeremy, I have a relationship with Jeremy, then I want to buy his spices. It's a human connection first, then the product or service comes afterward. And so many people miss that, and they miss the opportunity to build a relationship with their audience, with an actual person. They're too brand focused. They're not enough human focused. And as time goes on and more media needs to be prevalent inside of your business, like build a relationship with the person who runs it or your forward facing figure, and you will have a better business.
So, and I mean, to complete Matt's point, and says like, now is probably it's not too late. Now's a great time, because like when Budweiser and Amazon start doing it, it's indeed too late to try and start meeting your customers in this particular capacity.
Good point.
Yeah. They'll own the space a little bit more.
They'll
It'll
own
be
the
hard
space.
to keep
They'll
up.
change the game somehow that we don't know is happening yet. They'll just dominate it. They'll saturate it. It'll get weird, trademarks, blah, blah, blah. So like now's a great time. So like I said, we're going to learn more about that script, exactly what that means. But like Advanced Creative is looking for like enjoying, like we are, like I would, like there's something about being people that like love to do the same thing that you do. If there was a couple more you motherfuckers in here, like let's
dope.
go.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's
We'd
go.
check shoulders on the door.
You know what
Savannah
I'm
would
saying?
shove you over and your child.
Don't touch my mug. We can't wait. She would totally
I'll
body your
assault
child.
you for no reason.
Just because like there's a hint of competition in the air. She just
So stay
Not a
tuned.
turned straight
monster.
savage.
Stay tuned. If you're interested, don't hesitate though.
Good
Reach
thing
out
she's on my
to
team.
I'm super
TTG.
supportive.
No, you're you definitely
Just
pick
not of
people
my
up after you
friends.
knock them down.
But yeah.
So otherwise, we're super happy to be back. Today's episode is going to be a bit of a roundtable catch up with us. It's been a while. Things are happening. We want to talk about what's going on, and then like the essence of the conversation once we get there is going to be kind of the culture of tipping post-pandemic.
Oh boy, I feel like this group's gonna have some strong opinions.
Exactly. I've mentioned it to like 3 people before this.
Some strong opinions.
And before even getting through the sentence, they were like, "Oh, let me tell you about that."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, cool. We picked a good
I'm
subject."
curious.
Yeah.
I want to know what some of those opinions were.
Because like it's going to be a good conversation for a lot of reasons, especially because like we're all in the industry, we've participated in the industry, and while we like wholeheartedly believe it's important, there's also like it's going to be a good conversation. So we'll get there in a bit. Otherwise, we're just going to like what's been. So I mean, why don't we start with you, Matt?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Take us on it to give us an update. But you've been moving around.
Yeah.
What do you feel like sharing with folks about, what's going on with you and where you've been?
When was the last when we talked and we had Tom Hall in here? Where was I last? Was that South Carolina? Did I just get back from South Carolina, or was I headed to South Carolina?
I think you just got back from South Carolina.
Okay.
And you were leaving somewhere else like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Austin?
So no, I came back. So Austin, Texas was early. That was January. I went out to Austin in January. Went out to Austin in February. I did South Carolina, and then I went to Denver. That was the last place we went to, is Denver. Did I talk about the diesel day with like the 24-hour workout that happened out there? No. So that was cool to be a part of. So there was two things I went to. There was another Broken Science event with a bunch of really cool doctors, statisticians that I talked about a little bit last time. It was in Scottsdale. This time it was in Santa Cruz. So Grace and I got to attend that. It's always cool being around that cohort of people, and that was fun. And then after that, I went out to Denver, Colorado, and actually Boulder, Colorado. And there's a gentleman there who's a real life Rambo. Like literally a real life Rambo. His name is Brian Kanosh, and he goes by Tosh. And he was in Fallujah, and he was a Marine Recon Special Forces, and his team got ambushed, and basically everybody got taken out, and he was on a lone survival type situation for a couple of hours. He ended up having to go hand-to-hand combat when he ran out of ammo, ended up seizing a weapon from the enemy, and found himself deep into an enemy bunker where he had to fight his way out of it with a weapon that he pulled off somebody after being victorious in a hand-to-hand combat situation. Unfortunately, took out 22 of the enemy on his own to fight and survive his way out of there. Tried to get some reinforcements back in there to help get his buddies out of the situation, and he was awarded the Naval Cross, which is, I think it's like Naval Cross, and then there's like the Silver Star, and then there's the Medal of Honor. And the only reason he didn't get the Medal of Honor is because nobody actually survived it but him. And typically people have to survive, or there has to be something for you to actually receive the Medal of Honor. And majority of the people who receive the Medal of Honor, their wives or family does, because they die in that process.
Yeah, it's like posthumous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got as high as he could.
Purple Heart too, isn't the
Purple Heart is just if you're wounded.
Oh, gotcha.
So even if I accidentally shoot you in the foot, you get a Purple Heart. So.
If you accidentally shoot me in the foot, we got problems, Matt.
No, I don't take anything away from the Purple Heart of the veterans. But so yeah, it was insane. And what he does now is there's two things, but one of them is called the Diesel Day, and it's basically like real life cognitive therapy for these A-type personalities that are like, I've been to war, nobody understands me, I'm not going to sit down on a couch and talk about this with somebody because F you. What do you know about what I went through? So he gets all these type of guys together, and what they do is he has this whole sequence. I'm not going to go into detail about it because checking in with his left hand, each finger represents some sort of thing that they are reminders that they do. My favorite was the pointer finger, which we all know this one, because when we point our finger, what happens?
Shit gets done.
3 fingers point it back at us.
Oh.
So usually when I'm pointing, I'm blaming, and I'm giving away my opportunity to take control of the situation. I'm giving away my opportunity to create other opportunities that allow me to have more ownership over my decisions. And there's a whole thing that he has with it. But anyway, what he does is a 24-hour event at his house. And basically, there's 2 different sections of it. One of it is a long trail that you do holding a plate, and the other one is some machines and body weight. And I won't go into detail about it, but you work out and go through this for 24 hours. And it's a group of 12 people that do it at one time. He separates you in 2 teams, 6 and 6, and you alternate from the trail and the body weight and the machines, and you just switch for 24 hours. And when it gets dark, at about 2 to 3 in the morning, you start to see people break down. And what he uses is an ability for cognitive therapy, because he starts you start to process things, start to come, people start to drop these shields. You can't be defensive
when you're physically.
Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And so
it makes us all honest.
It really does. And so what happens is during that time, him and his amazing staff that is there start working through people, and they don't try to make it a therapy session, but what they do is it's basically like Socratic method in real life, where they just start like asking questions, and they be quiet and they just ask, and you kind of work yourself through this with some sort of physical challenge that's happening at the same time. So I got to be a part of that in a media sense, and document and film the whole thing, which was, as being an interviewer and somebody behind the camera, was a crazy experience, because these people would come back from this trip trail drop their 45-pound plate, because 45 was the women's weight, 55 was the men's weight. They would drop this 45-pound plate and just start breaking down. And then I have to be the guy that rolls up with the camera and is like,
Hey.
boom, and you stick it right in their face. And so you were there for the highs, they were there for the lows. So that was Denver. I got back from that for a couple days. I went down to LA. There was a semifinal, which is a higher level of a CrossFit competition. Shot a movie over there called Behind the Scenes that'll probably come out in another 2 weeks, similar to like what I did in August of last year. Was home for 2 days, flew out to Knoxville, Tennessee. Shot the same thing, same competition, one on the west, one on the east. And then now I'm home. I got back on Monday. I'll be home yesterday, today, and I fly back out to Columbus, Ohio tomorrow for capturing some media for a gentleman who owns a gym in Portsmouth, Ohio, which is a really small, middle of the nowhere town, but has one of the highest opiates addiction in the nation. And what he does is he has a full 360 rehabilitation center with CrossFit. So they come in, they start with CrossFit as part of their process of getting off the drugs and getting their life in order. And then he actually supplies them with a job. He owns a company called Doc Spartan. And what they do is they make deodorants and all this stuff with non-chemical ingredients. And so after they go through a certain process of working out and rehabilitating and getting their life back on track, he employs them with their job there. And then they can either stay with Doc Spartan, a lot of them do, and start helping out others, or now they have their life back in order. They built a resume, they have some work history underneath their belts, and they could go back out and he helps assist them get a job. His name is Dale King, and if you guys search Dale King Shark Tank, you could watch him because he had Doc Spartan on Shark Tank a couple years back and got invested in from the Sharks to make this thing kind of happen. So I'll be out in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow I fly out, and then I'll be back home on Sunday. Then no travel for a while, thank goodness.
Not the games in August?
The games in August? Yeah, it's a while.
It's hard to tell. They play the game of they're not going to give us access. They are going to give us access. They're giving no one access. So as a third-party media, it's tough because sometimes we don't know what type of level. And for us, we're bougie. We come in and we say, we can't be everywhere in the venue. Like, don't give me a outside press where I have these pits and stuff. No. I need to have freedom and walk around like I own the place. And that's how you make the good movies, right? I want to be able to be back there with the athletes when they're talking with their coaches, during the highs, during the lows, so we could tell that story. And if we can't, it's just not worth us to spend the cash to get out there and do the whole thing. If we can't tell the story in a big way. So potentially Texas again in August, but we'll see.
Well, sheesh, bud.
Rocking and rolling. Yeah.
Now, are you, this most closely impacts the media launch program business model. Are you able to take any of this back home and add value to CFL here in Livermore, or
no? So this actually has nothing to do with Media Launch. This is all through the Savon podcast and working through that. Media Launch is more of a direct media marketing company, and we opened up on the platform called School. Did you make the joke about it or whatever?
I did.
I was like, yeah, that's actually what it is.
That's how it's spelled.
SKOOL. There's a platform called School, and basically what it is it's community kind of message board. It's classroom modules. It's one-on-one calls. It's webinars. It's direct messaging, all built into one platform. And so Media Launch has really moved into that space. And what we've done is on School delivered a bunch of free media marketing materials specifically for CrossFit gyms by CrossFit gyms. And so that's been the latest aim of Media Launch. We have just over 100 affiliates inside that platform now. We started about 2 weeks ago, and it's been pretty successful. And what that'll come from is outside of that, we teach you how to do everything. So it's kind of like, hey, you come in here for free, exchange ideas, collaborate, be a part of the community, take all of our stuff and utilize it. But if you don't want to utilize it, we have a done-for-you service specifically for CrossFit gyms. That's a paid-for service. So then they come outside of school and say, hey, we love all these ideas. We know the importance of it. I just don't have the time or don't want to have the time or don't have the talent or whatever. Put your thing here. I'd rather just pay for it, right? And in life, you pay for everything either with your time or your money. That's it. Those are the only two resources we all have as human beings. So for us, it's like, if you want to pay for your time, here's all the tools. It's all for free. Dig in, get after it. If you don't want to pay with your time and you have the resources or you want to pay with your money, then we will jump you outside of school and do the dump for you model. So that's where Media Launch has been in the last month as well too.
So it's working.
It's working, dude.
So man, so Savan podcast also kind of, well, I guess, that as we kind of think about where we might want to be one day. Savan podcast is more than a podcast these days. You guys are a media arm in a sense.
Exactly. We have different pundits. So we have Shut Up and Scribble, which is some guys that are specifically talk about CrossFit competition. I do a show every Tuesday at 11 a.m. live on there, and I talk about kind of the business side of fitness and whatever's on my mind. And then we also do all the documentaries and filmmaking that lives on there too.
Man, keep it up, bud.
Thanks, bro.
We enjoy watching it. Savannah, particularly Savannah, was pretty excited to have you back. As I was driving away the other day from Story, as Matt was pulling in.
Oh yeah, I was like, "Don't go, Matt's here too."
Oh, really?
Was that yesterday?
That was like
or
yesterday
Monday?
or the day before.
Tuesday?
It was either yesterday.
No,
every day
it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was yesterday's workout. That's right.
It was just super early.
Yeah.
And you were literally pulling in, and she was like,
No, Matt's here too. Because that was
like,
the first time the three of us have been together in so long.
Because the leaf blower was out there. I couldn't hear a fucking word she was saying. I was like, what?
You know what I was saying. Don't you
She was
fucking
like,
lie to my
Matt's
face.
out here. I pushed another kid. And I was like, oh, shit. We
Keep
were.
it up, I'll fucking push you.
No, but she was excited. We were excited to have you back in town. Not only just to have you back in town, but something about, when you're out there doing the things that, having success, bring some, we want some of that energy.
Oh man, I'm bringing it to you.
We're happy to have you back in town. So, one down, Savannah Banana. What about you? What's going on in the round table?
Get it, girl.
And please take your flowers for graduating again.
Yeah, please do so.
I don't see any flowers. You didn't bring me any,
Even better.
Croissants.
The flowers are edible.
Breaded flowers.
Today's
Today's flowers are sponsored by
Patisserie by Simone.
Oh wow!
I went and saw her today for the first time. My wife's been there a few times. I've had her pastries a few times, but I just haven't made it in yet. Grabbed some pastries. Her air conditioning wasn't working because, like most, regrettably, her landlord is a point of sale system, POS. A piece of shit.
We get it.
Point of sale. No, point of sale.
And pastries and butter, things that like melt and stuff don't do good in 85 degrees. So she was like, look, I'm trying to get everything out of here. So we're like, we'll take everything. We're taking it to the podcast. Got to meet her for the first time, which was cool. So we have some pastries here. I dropped some off from my contractors at the house. Brought some here, and we're gonna enjoy some. So that's what we have here. But back to you over there on Savannah Banana with the weather. How is it going?
The weather's hot.
Yeah,
Everything's fine. I graduated, and that's really cool, and that's done. That was kind of a shit show of a weekend, to be honest. I feel like I've just been living in a little bit of a shit show since then.
Why? What do you mean?
Just like everything's like slightly chaotic and there's no exact routine yet. So I'm kind of living a day-to-day thing.
Do you have any goals that in the next couple, do you have anything you'd like to achieve now that you're graduated soon?
Yeah.
Later, now that you're, the next chapter,
Somebody
right? Different
who would
chapter.
like to pay me a good amount of money. That's a goal.
That is.
I got to, as far as updates, graduated, which is like very exciting. I'll be happy when that diploma comes in the mail. I have really bad like imposter syndrome, so I always have this feeling of somebody's gonna be like, nope, just kidding. You didn't. We're taking that back. You didn't get that.
That's fair.
So I'm just eagerly anticipating to get that because once that drops, I also get to forward it on to San Jose State, and then that will get rid of my hold because you're not. Actually, nothing. I guess I'm fully admitted, but it still drives me crazy that I don't have that like transcript to send in yet because you have to wait for the university to officially send you your diploma, and then you send that. Done, so signed, sealed, delivered.
You're held up by formalities, it sounds
held
like
up by
right now.
formalities, which like the person in charge is like, no, it's fine. Like just send it in when it gets here. Like it will get here. And I'm like, it will. And they're like, we didn't doubt it. Like it's fine. But because I have such bad imposter syndrome, I keep thinking that San Jose is going to like rescind their offer.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Just
this.
pull it back. Like,
It's just this constant like
mind.
fear.
Well, fuck around and fuck. Well, they
This
clearly.
constant fear of mine, but I get to register for classes tomorrow. So I sent emails out to my professors today, like requesting my like ad codes, which is pretty exciting. So I now have my schedule for August to December, which is really exciting because not knowing that is really annoying, I think. So it's exciting to know what
Yeah,
that's
we
going
live
to
in
look
this
like.
world now where, like, if you don't know what you're doing in 3 months, it stresses you out.
Right.
You remember
If
when
I
was
don't know
like-
what I'm doing next week, I get really stressed
Yeah,
out.
it's like, no, oh shit, someone invited me to a wedding next year. Fuck.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel so committed.
Oh,
I
no, I have to
can't
get
be
back
held
to you.
down.
Too
Oh,
much
no.
commitment. So
No, that's,
I'm excited to have that schedule. That's what's coming up.
So wait, what's the next phase for you? Clarify that for me a little bit more. So you graduated, you're waiting for the paper to do what?
Because I was admitted to grad school, which you guys know that.
Cool.
Yeah, so I have grad school next in the fall. So that is at minimum a 2-year program. Most people tend to do 3 with it because the purpose behind this MFA, specifically a writing one, is to come out the end of it with a publishable piece of work that you then go and publish. So 2 to 3 years, it kind of depends.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Not
that's
to cut you
exciting.
off, and I'm sure you've thought about that. Everyone thinks about the last chapter, whether it's always the same or not. Have you thought about
Like what I'm going to publish?
essence of what you might publish?
Yeah, well, so I'm admitted as a fiction writer. So when you apply to these programs, you apply for whatever like genre. You can send in multiple works and they can consider you for multiple genres. And San Jose particularly, I really liked. UC Davis and San Jose I was most interested in because their programs in particular, they have really great literary magazines. And because even when you're admitted under a specific genre, you still can do what's either called a dual genre or UC Davis, they don't even call it dual genre. It's just you focus kind of on everything because as a writer, I don't know many writers who are like, I only write poetry. Like a lot of people write lyrical essays. A lot of people write columns. People write fiction. So it's across like a huge spectrum. And so San Jose and UC Davis both kind of believe in that, which I really like. So I'm admitted as a fiction writer, which means that when I graduate with my MFA, I will either have a thesis that is written about the fiction genre, or I will have a publishable, like ready to be published piece of fiction work, whether that's a collection of short stories, a novel, it doesn't matter. It can be either of those things in fiction. But I think I'll probably... You don't have to announce what your dual genre is, but probably nonfiction. I write more nonfiction than I do fiction. But that will probably be what I end up also kind of like working on. So I don't know. I float around a bunch of ideas. I'm working on several different ones
Which is
all at
also
once.
the right answer. You know
Yeah.
what it will be, at least what it has to be, and the variations that it might be.
Yeah.
You'll figure out what it is. That's fine.
I feel confident in what I'm probably going to work on the most coming into it. I know what I'm working on.
You want to share it? Because you never know what angels might be out there. That's all, or not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Put your shit out there. It doesn't
I was
matter.
already talking about it with, it's funny, I was chatting about it with Dennis and Danita, which I don't know if they listen, but they're really, really nice people. We always see them at Story Coffee. They have a wonderful dog named Bandit.
Is
you know
that-
what?
is
They
it the
do
little-
listen because Dennis told me, he was like, wow, that Jeremy has a great voice. I'm like, yeah, he's all right. But I did tell them about it. So what I'm currently working on right now is more of a literary fiction piece.
Literary, okay.
And it is focus. Do you guys understand what breaking the fourth wall is, correct?
Yeah, it's like where you're talking to the audience, but you're inside the story at the same time,
You're
right?
talking to the audience directly, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
breaking the fourth wall, you see this in theater and you...
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
for example, I'm now turning and looking at the camera, and I'm specifically talking to the audience that's going to be listening and watching to this, and I'm acknowledging them. So, like, it changes
100%.
it changes the narrative style. So,
It's like what they
Yeah.
do in Modern Family, and I fucking love it. When they go from the scene, and then it's like Phil Dunphy saying, "Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm
yes.
sorry. I'm with you. Go keep going. Yeah, don't
yes
let me."
and no, because that's supposed to be documentary style. So, like, a better example would be, what's the movie
trying
that
to
was
think of
about
one
the
too.
financial crisis in 2008? It was The Big something.
The Big Short.
The Big Short.
Yeah.
So Ryan Gosling's character breaks the fourth wall in that one.
I think they do it in The Wolf of Wall Street too, where he's
The
like
Wolf of Wall-
walking and then he'll turn and be like, and so now when we did this, so they're like,
Yes.
you know, it almost pulls you out of the story.
But
and like
everybody
talks
else
to the
that's
audience
currently in
directly.
the story, it's not acknowledged that that's
Yeah,
happening.
so they
Okay.
just go about
That
their
makes
business.
sense,
Only
yeah.
the main character
so I'm
usually.
working,
That makes
so I'm
sense.
working
Okay.
on a literary fiction that is the characters often breaking the fourth wall, and I liked it because specifically I figured, what have I spent the majority of my professional life doing? Working in hospitality and wine. And people that I think are so weird are fucking sommeliers. They're just the fucking weirdest people. And often when I reflect on my experience working in hospitality a lot, and I'm able to realize how bizarre it is, and I'm able to find the further I step away, the more I can find interesting like issues with it, or just conundrums that I like to explore. And so this character specifically breaks the fourth wall in a way that allows the readers to receive a bunch of information without being bogged down in a I don't want to say world building type way, but in that. And I like the break of the fourth, like specifically the story for me has to be told by breaking the fourth wall, because breaking the fourth wall, characters that typically do that are typically really arrogant, and Psalms are extremely arrogant people. Okay. And so to me, like, it serves this like characterization very specifically. So that's a piece of fiction that I'm working on right now. Cool. More what I'm excited about is that hopefully by the time that this drops is that I'll have like a blog website up. I've been working on it for the past week now. Okay. So I'm hoping, when are we releasing this, Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Go onto my Instagram and you'll see whether there's going to be a blog.
Is there a website, or is it just like a blog link that you're using? What are you using?
It's going to be a website. Right now, I'm literally just building the blog and what the website looks like. So I'm using Squarespace. Okay. Because I tried working with a few other ones and I was just like, it doesn't seem worth it. I don't really like that template. So I finally found something that I liked. So by Tuesday, go to my Instagram and there might be something there, and there might be a link to my blog website.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Because I think I told you guys about how I'm doing like my 365 like days of like brave, and I have to do something brave every single day. Yeah. So what I'm going to start doing is that one of the blogs on there is going to be like, I think I named it the Year of Brave or something like that. And so each week I'm just going to kind of chronicle what like the one big thing of the week is, like the highlight. Oh, yeah. Cool. Because sometimes like the everyday stuff sometimes they're little things. And so I don't want to keep like I keep a daily journal of it, but every week my goal is to then post like a recap on the week prior.
And did you start this January 1?
I started this.
Are you starting it when the blog releases?
No, I started it January 1, but I feel like what I'm going to do is, since I'm starting the blog now, I'm actually going to push it all the way to summer. So that way I have a full log of 52 weeks. So even though I started in January, I'm going to essentially do it a little bit longer than.
What's the most uncomfortable thing you've done so far? That you want to share, not in the blog, like a little teaser.
Yeah, I mean, so
I pushed a kid. No, I'm kidding.
That doesn't bother me. You know what? Like so many things, I would say, like on the small spectrum, like the little things that I do that are brave for me is I build things really big, like up in my head. Because when we talk about things, if I bring something up, I've typically been thinking about it for a really, really long time. And what ends up happening is that like I procrastinate certain items because I'm obsessed with like doing it perfect. And I know that I won't have the time to do it perfect right then and there. So then I push it off. So a lot of the small things are literally just responding to this professional email and like not making a big fucking deal about it and just like responding to it, or being like, like I need to make this invitation. Like, okay, just make the fucking invitation. So those are a lot of the little things. Some of the bigger things have been, just right now, like discussing like things that I write about, I think is something that always kind of makes me uncomfortable. This past week, and this will probably be the first one that I release, I went back to my hometown in like, I don't even know, like years. I think I went maybe last year for my nephew's like birthday, and it was like a quick in and quick out. I developed this really weird, like relationship with where I'm from, like a really weird and bitter one, where when I think about visiting, I start to get like massive anxiety about it. And I was starting to realize that I attached like a lot of really, really negative things to it, and it was becoming like a problem. And then I even attached, what I did is I like almost separated myself in two, and I was like, well, this is like before Savannah and this is like after Savannah, like a specific event. Yeah. And I started really disliking the before, and for whatever reason and then I attached that to where I was from. So like the idea of even physically going there or seeing people that I grew up with would give me like the worst anxiety.
Are your parents still together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents have been married for I think like 30 30 plus years. I'm 31, so
Yeah,
35 years, 37, something like that.
It's just interesting that you described that because
Did you have that when your parents divorced?
well, as far as going home, it gives me anxiety for a multitude of reasons. Well,
Yeah.
at least two that I know of. One
Yeah.
is that my hometown in Fremont does not look like the same hometown I grew in with because the Bay Area
Yeah.
found out and realized that it was the best commuter town in the entire Bay Area and completely destroyed what I remembered.
Yeah.
That's the obvious.
Yeah.
The second is my parents got divorced while I was away from Fremont in the same time
Oh.
that Fremont was changing its landscape completely.
Oh my God, your childhood was like totally ripped away in like
And
two fail
I'm
swoops.
still
Like,
trying to
geez.
figure out more of why I feel the way I do about my hometown and specifically why I just don't go there.
It's really complicated.
It's really complicated.
I have a lot of, I had a friend who passed away, and that was kind of like the point that like I'm able to, like when we talk about this in therapy like all the time because I've been trying to figure it out, it drives me crazy. My friend passed away, and that was kind of like a big turning point of like, after that time, after that funeral, which was at the same time that my brother like had his engagement party and my parents were like moving out of town. After that time, I developed like this huge, massive anxiety for it. Like I just couldn't. And like
Yeah.
I attached it to a bunch of different things, to like a bunch of like, maybe some like personal family issues, like so many things. So anyways, I haven't been back in a long time. The idea of going freaks me the fuck out. My grandma got sick this past year. And so I've been wanting to go to see her because she's still like her and my cousin and like them are the only people that still live in town. And, yeah, I haven't been. And this past week was the Apricot Fiesta, which is like the big like town hoo-ha of like everything. And so Nicole and I just kind of decided of like, let's just like go. So that was, that was a thing that I kept telling myself of like a few months back. I was just like, I need to go to that because almost like, what is it? Like aversion therapy to like a certain extent of like, you realize it's not as bad as you like built it up in your head.
Right.
So I went and it wasn't bad at all. And it was fine. And I had a fine time. And I saw one friend that I really like. I got to see my cousin on my mom's side. I got to see, because she just happened to be going in on the same day. And then I got to see my cousin who still lives out there, who I hadn't seen in a long time. And like a few different people. And it was interesting too. And Akoa thought it was really funny because the Miss Patterson pageant's like happening on the night that we're there. And actually it wasn't Akoa.
So there was beef,
Shout
yo.
out.
There was fucking beef.
No, there was beef after this comment. My friend Sam, we saw him and our other friend Thomas there. And one of them, I think it was Sam who made the comment. He was just like, that girl on that stage was 4 when you won. I was
Oh my
God, fuck you, dude.
That's hilarious.
He was like,
There's
she
beef now.
was
There's
4
fucking-
Now we
years
got a problem.
old. And I'm like,
That's why I started
what?
pushing kids.
That's why I started pushing.
kids.
Wait, so what did
But
it?
it was kind of crazy to realize. I was like, oh my God, that girl was a little 4-year-old girl when I was up there. And it was really interesting. There wasn't too many, what I will say that was really cool. When I grew up out there, you're Hispanic, you're white, or you're both. I'm both. A lot of people are both. And like that was kind of the extent of like diverse like groups of people. We had probably 2 Black families. We had 1 Asian family, and everybody knows them because they're like the only like people that are there, right? And then when I got into high school, we had like a handful of like poly families. So then when we were there, it was really cool because there was a fucking L&L. And we were like, are you familiar with L&L?
The Hawaiian barbecue?
Yes.
Oh.
There's a fucking L&L there. And there was way more poly families there, which I was like, this is cool. There was way more Black people there. There was way more Asian people there. And I was just like, oh my God, like all the food that I missed out on like in my like childhood is here. So I thought that was really cool to see the way that it's changed. And there were some nice things too when we were driving down like the main road, which is Sperry. They did this. It's also too, when I was growing up there, very, very small agricultural town. By the time that I was in high school, there was like new developments of like homes. And so they plant the trees, you know, they're tiny little stick trees.
Oh.
It was crazy to be there and see these trees grown in. And it literally changes how everything looks. But they also did a fallen soldiers like I don't even know what to call it, like tribute of they have like all of our veterans from our town on the light posts
that's
going
cool.
down the main street. Yeah, I was like really touched by that. I found that like
So it sounds
there was
like you
something
went
really
home and,
endearing.
As I say, has your relationship changed with that thought now?
Yeah, I think so. Mostly because I figured out what I've been starting to figure out what the issue is. And then once you kind of figure out what the issue is, you kind of just have to be brave and then like face whatever that like big fear you build up in your
And
head
the third
is.
thing I didn't mention was traffic. Traffic.
Traffic. Oh.
We don't have the same type. I mean, traffic, I'm sure, is bad out there. But so yeah, I felt a lot better about it. And it was one of those things of like, things aren't as scary as I built them up as like in my head.
That's
And it
cool.
was kind of nice to see it differently. My brother and I have this weird thing where we associate where we're from with like death. Just because I grew, like when you grow up there, a lot of people just like die really, really young. And so for once I went there and I didn't associate it with that. And that's kind of what I always associate it with too. So that was very interesting to like kind of let go of whatever that was. I think just I thought it was normal growing up that like a lot of people just die very young. And then when you start talking to other people, you're like, oh, that's actually not that common. Like that
Yeah.
was a common thing for us specifically out there.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of vehicle accidents. So if you ever have me in
Yeah,
a vehicle
okay.
with you, I'm kind of one of the worst people to have in a vehicle. I have so much like vehicle like trauma.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sheesh, man.
Have you been back to Fremont
I
and
have.
do that? Did you go to Ardingwood Elementary School?
I was Warwick Thornton American.
Okay. I went to Ardingwood.
That is
Where did you really?
Yeah. First grade? First grade? Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then I think the
Is that
cutoff
when
was
you moved
different.
out here?
Yeah, so I was in Ardingwood Elementary. I want to say it was first grade, maybe second, but my mom probably listened to this and was gonna be like, "You just went to kindergarten there, sweetheart." But yeah, so we moved here.
Didn't you call
that-
it the truth?
and then I think like the school cutoff time was like different or something like that. So I like it should have been in like first grade or something in Livermore, but then I moved to like second. I don't know. The whole thing's kind of fuzzy. I'm sure my mom knows it much better than I do. But yeah, Ardingwood Elementary is where we went.
Ardenwood, right down there at Paseo. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out my association with my hometown. I have an idea.
Do you feel like there's a divide between who you used to be and like who you are?
Oh, 100%.
Are you okay? So I'm in like the stage of trying to figure out how I can make those two things like come together, that I don't have to like be mad at like who I like. I got this weird thing where I started to be like really mad and I started to like really demonize like myself. Like I don't know where it came from. I think what it was is it was just something that I needed to do to like get through whatever it was that I needed to get through.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
now it's not really serving me anymore. If
So
that makes sense.
my
And-
relationship
yeah.
with the old version of me is a little different. I can totally relate, but what I know is in high school I played sports. I was pretty good at them.
Yeah.
I was in shape. I was fast. My mom worked in the school district. We weren't rich by any means, but I went to the summer camps. I played.
Yeah.
I played NGB.
You had a good childhood.
Yeah, I had a good childhood. I had good opportunities. And while I was a turd, like
turd?
like you're supposed to be,
Okay.
Not me. I was 8
I was
years
the
old
kid
as a
who could smile and talk my way out of most things.
Yeah,
which
buddy.
not
Ew,
every-
you're my brother, Sammy. I
Yeah,
hate
buddy.
you.
which not everyone appreciates.
Yeah, I know
so like
that.
I know who I was growing up, and any gripes that I have with me, I've actually really come to terms with,
Oh, that's nice.
and I take responsibility for a lot of it. But as someone who's an adult now and who has had a lot of opportunity to lead, I wish, and it's not about. There's a lot of leaders out there that let me be a turd and did not provide the guidance as teachers, as administrators that they should for children. Because as a 14-year-old, I'm supposed to be a shit. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
a straight up asshole. Like I said, I was a good kid. I'm supposed to make mistakes. So like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
See, I think that's what it is like you can look back and you'd be like, you're supposed to make mistakes. Because I'm such a perfectionist, I look back and I can't accept it. And so like that was something that I did of like I had to divide myself like from there. But then I think when you do that, there's something really unhealthy when you do that because you can't accept that you're a human that like makes mistakes. And so lately I've been trying to like regain like these little like parts of myself. And Nico was like so supportive of it because he calls it calls it either P-Town Savvy or like Country Savannah. And he finds it really endearing because like that's who I was like when we met. And so I think in a lot of ways he really supports it, so when I texted you the other night, we were at the Oak Door.
Oh, shout out the Oak Door.
Shout out to the Oak Door. We were only there for a short amount of time.
Text me at 10:14 at night, by the way, which is not like terribly late, but like with like
I was
ideas.
like, Jamie might still be up.
She was rolling,
At
bro.
the
Oak Door now. Got some ideas.
I'm
revved up.
We were only there for a super short amount of time. It was just for a friend's birthday. I had to be up early like the next morning and everything. But we had like the best time. And it was great because I was listening. It was karaoke night. And so it's a country bar. So everybody was like playing country music. And Nicole was just like, he was like so in love with the fact that I'm like singing all the songs and I was having the best time. And it was also wild because we get in there at, I don't know, like 9:20 or something like that, 9:15. And there's like maybe 10 of us tops in there. And then by the
It's still
time
early,
that
She's counting the bartenders too.
by the time that I leave, which is at like 10:15, 10:20, so again, maybe an hour, the place was so packed that you could not see the front door. Like there was no place to sit. Yes, there was no place to sit anymore. Like everybody's in there. Karaoke Saturday nights
here in town. Go to Rebel on a Thursday night in Livermore.
So it was completely packed. It did remind me of like where I come from, which was like very funny. But then we think also what attributed to it was Granada baseball had won something really big that night.
They won the NCS National California. They're the best team in California.
AKA something really big.
They're the best team in California. They beat De La Salle.
So we kept seeing parents.
Yeah,
we saw a bunch of parents come in wearing like Granada like baseball stuff. So like they came in to celebrate, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. Annika was like, I'm coming up with a P-Town Savvy playlist. He was like, because you just had the best time singing those songs. I was like, I really did.
Wow.
That's cool.
So wow. There's a lot there. And just to kind of end this topic, I mean, not end, but
we're not going to end it because I need to know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
we didn't talk about how I was feeling.
No, you didn't say anything that's new with you.
Like, okay, so we're done with the job. We're stepping out on our own. Like,
see how he tried to dodge it?
I know. He tried to
I swear we talked about that.
No,
we have off mic.
And it's like I'm in when you mentioned Fremont. Just to round out that topic as we get into I'm able to give us some updates. The two things that I'm struggling with, one that I've always struggled with, and kind of as a like continuation, I have a good idea of who I was as a kid, and I'm fine with it, even in the worst of it, because I was a kid, and like I'm also like, look how I turned out. I give back to my community. I'm probably supposed to have made those mistakes.
I need to talk to you more.
Did you kill somebody or something? What are you
maybe, bro?
Okay.
It's your drop They only show in neon light.
But what'd you do?
As a half black, half white guy, the thing that I dealt with as a kid was identity crisis.
I deal with huge identity crisis.
That was mine because you're not black enough to hang out with black people.
But you're not white enough.
You ain't white.
Yeah.
But when you get pulled over, I'm a nigga.
No.
And that's the first time I've said that on the podcast. But like for real, that's real talk. So like that was always my battle. It's not so much my battle these days because I have
that same issue.
I'm just Jeremy Troop Mossy now, and you're gonna take me as I am. We're like fuck off. I don't care. I got enough people in my community. Enough people love me. I'm cool with that.
Right.
So I'd say that's a demon that I probably deal with relative to hometown. That I still probably have to figure out. And there was some there. I mean,
I feel like you and I have talked about this only a handful of times, completely always off air, just like you and I chatting. And I feel like we haven't talked about that specifically since probably 2020, which is interesting because it has a lot. I think when people deal with like, I have like a huge identity crisis too of like, I'm white passing. People don't know that I'm Hispanic. And more recently, I don't want to call these people out. A specific group of people of a specific age, have been refusing to accept that I'm Hispanic. And
why do you need them? Wait, hold on. Why do you need them to?
I was there for
it
one
was
of them.
because I don't know how to explain it. It's just
what
so
happened?
fucking weird.
Like, it was just like you told them like, oh yeah, my dad's Mexican. They're like, nope.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of.
Yeah.
How do they even?
I would see, like, you can see how flustered. Matt, I'll explain this to you.
I'm just
I'll-
confused. I'm like, wait a minute.
Because I was actually there for the last one.
All right, we'll save it. We'll save it. We'll save it. I didn't mean to ask that. I'm like, what?
It like glitched
What?
the whole
How do you-
conversation for a second. And I was
no,
like,
exactly.
so
No,
how
Matt,
about
you're,
that?
you're asking the right question.
Yeah, I'm
why
like,
would
what does
somebody?
it matter? Why do they? What?
Because it's one thing if like, and it's never me trying to
looked
like
at
convince
Savannah, I was
somebody.
like,
It's
no.
me just making a comment and then being like, no, and you're like, oh,
But I am.
But I know your family, and I.
I don't know.
so,
It's so weird.
okay,
And so
all right,
identity
well,
crisis
Something
is
that
a big
people,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
whether
How?
that's-
What were some of the struggles that you dealt with? Because that's like the Savannah's talking about like weird older people, I suppose. And that's just confusing. Like, have they met your parents? Okay,
It
whatever.
wasn't even the worst one that's happened to me
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Okay, but for you growing up, was that like a peer group thing as far as like we're like?
Well, I mean, kids
Unpack that a little
kids
bit.
are mean, man.
Yeah,
Were
fuck
you
yeah.
unique in your demographic?
And you call it how it would. Not really.
No,
not really. I'm
Because a
from
lot
Fremont.
of
We're
people
from the
where
Bay
I'm from
Area.
Yeah.
are half Mexican and half white, so
Yeah.
it's very common. So I didn't get it a lot growing up, and it wasn't until I moved away from the valley.
But it's always, I mean, like people are all unique. But like if there was like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the most polarizing combination is like, oh, you're black and white.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Especially
I
when
think
you're
so.
a kid and you just say mean things.
Right.
So like kids
'Cause
say
they're
mean
very,
things.
and they're also very opposite, like cultures.
They're very opposite.
Yeah,
History will
I
tell you,
understand
you know,
that.
it's like it's the easiest one that's got the most, you know, all of those. So that's my best guess. Otherwise, kids are just mean. We just say things that
Yeah.
hurt feelings. I've said things as a kid. I told my
Yeah.
sister-in-law when I was 7 that she was fat because I'm a stupid kid and I'm
Yeah.
mean. You know what I'm saying? Like
And she beat the shit out of
we
you, right?
say terrible
Right?
things.
Right.
No? You're lucky you weren't mine.
And then you,
Ooh.
and then you know, you just you take that and you add 5 and 10 years of
Yeah.
instances, and it's just something you deal with, right?
Yeah.
Until you deal with it, and that's something as
Maybe
I
that's
got
my
older
problem.
that I've really learned to do, and that's particularly I've kind of hinted at it in sports. Sports is very raw. And it's a microcosm in life in many regards. I've played
Yeah.
a lot of sports, and the moments, particularly of failure, I don't know why, and it's probably because of my mother. I've always had the opportunity to reflect and relate it to something that I've experienced in real life in some capacity. So I've got to revisit things, traumas. I mean, they're traumas.
Yeah.
Traumas and scars over and over again. So like I'm more confident with it now. And like I said, you take me as I am or not, because the value that I add is not that I'm half black and half white.
Yeah.
No. So like I'm not having that. I won't even.
It's just like you,
I won't
Jeremy, as a
pretend to have that
person.
conversation.
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, then next.
It's a pointless conversation. Skin
So-
color is not a correlate for anything, people.
Yeah. So I mean that, and
Yeah.
relative to hometown, which is kind of like if you're still with us, guys, like that's kind of because Savannah we were talking about the updates, and I just thought it was interesting because like I struggle to go home, and I think I know why, but I wonder
That
why
makes me
because
feel a lot better.
it's a trip. Because like in my head, the combination of a divorce and the landscape has changed. Yeah, that makes sense. But okay, so but like, why won't you go there still? Because like, there's still something I'm battling with internally.
It's so hard to do it. I
It's
had
a
to,
trip.
maybe you have to verbally tell Erica, because what I had to tell Nakoa is I'm like, we're doing this because I'm actually struggling with this. And like, I'm
yeah.
making it a big thing, and I don't need this to be a big thing. I don't want these weird fucking issues in my life. I don't want this to be a reason that I don't get to see my lovely cousin Cassidy, who I just like absolutely love.
Yeah.
I don't want, I'm getting hella emotional about it. I don't want it to be a reason why I don't see my grandma
Yeah.
before she passes away.
all
and
the
that,
things.
and I think for me, because she just recently was in the hospital, and that was really scary. And my brother and Nicole and I went to go and see her. And so for me, that was kind of like a wake up call. Of I'm like, this can my whole life can pass before my eyes if I keep letting these fears
Especially
get in the way.
from where you came from, where it's like most important.
Exactly. And so I was just kind of like, I need to like rip this Band-Aid off, and I need to go. And
Yeah.
like, I'm so happy that we went. Like, I saw my cousin and her husband and my like her kids, our nieces and nephews, who were just like obsessed with Nicole, and they were so cute. And we had just like they were just, it was so great to see them,
Yeah.
and it was the best time. So I'm really happy that I like pulled the trigger on it.
It's and I mean,
yeah.
like I said, to transition into how I'm doing when you start talking about death. What's funny is death recently has brought me back,
Yeah.
which was not the reason I wanted to be there, but in death, nothing else matters. I was just home.
Yep.
So like it's bittersweet's probably not in like impactful enough of a word, but like someone very close and important to you passes away. It doesn't matter who you don't. It doesn't matter. You're like
whatever happened
I'm
really
there,
goes out the window.
I'm in it,
Yeah.
and I'm just happy to be there, and
Yeah.
I'm enjoying people. So it's been that's where I'm at. And that's probably the internal battle I'll deal with for a bit longer. For as long I don't know.
For as long as till you don't, right?
But you know what? On the other end, a whole lot of my friends and people that I grew up with, particularly my friends, people my age, live in Livermore as well. And I know on the other side of that, what keeps me in Livermore is that much of what I grew up with is not hard to find.
Yeah.
Is not far to find.
Yeah.
I live within 5 miles of a dozen couples that I spent the first 20 years of my life with.
Wow.
And there's comfort in that too. So
Yeah.
just trying to build the best picture. It doesn't, I deal with trauma the same way anyone does. I have scars the same way anyone does. But what I had the privilege to learn is to build the biggest picture so that I can navigate it the best. Hurt still hurts the same, but I know that even in hurt, I have 2 dozen friends within 5 miles that are home. And that to finish up that conversation. So it's funny that you brought that up. How's Jeremy doing? Otherwise doing all right.
Yeah. What are you up to now? Because I know you're
writing me notes on my fruit at Wingin.
switching careers. You kind of stepped out on your own here.
Yeah.
And
So I left Darcy Kent. April 2nd was my last day. And a lot of people probably knew it was coming one day. It gets to the point where you start work, you work for people, and it's like, no, trust me, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah, you needed to have the space to grow and pursue your
100%.
Stuff, your things.
100%. And the formula is in a good place now. Eric is making great money. We don't have any children yet. It's kind of like, it's never too late to start, y'all. If you're 45 years old and listening, it's never too late to start. But for in my life, our pocket to take this risk is right now.
Yeah.
For now until the next time, and I don't know when that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, here, let's go. We're all in. Let's go. So yeah, I quit my job. And I got to figure out the spices here as far as how to get them in front of people more. Get them in your pantries. Figure out the whole stuff. The business.
Yeah, of course.
As well as this podcast, which we love, which will, if you're listening, you enjoy this. I won't speak for you and say you love it, but you probably do. Subscribe. Everything counts. Leave us follows, leave us reviews. Send us money.
Just mail us money.
Just mail it.
You can just mail it out.
Pretty sure it's not federal
Cash
crime.
to Jeremy's address, please.
So I have to figure it out, and I want to figure it out. So I work at the Wingin Bakery 3 days a week. Not because I love them. I love what they do. It's the Bay Area. It also supplements income.
Yeah, a little cash flow is good.
Cash flow is good. And also puts me with my biggest spice account. So like it fits a lot of things for me. As far as like, one of the reasons I left Darcy Kent is because it takes me too far away from my business.
Yeah.
Working at Wingin puts me in my business, and I feel it. I look at every single bagel that comes off the shelf with my seasoning on it, and I'm like, God damn, way too much dill fell off. And that's what I spend Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays staring at.
You're so locked in back there too, which I love, and I
It's
think it's funny.
it's
And I
a good-
try and
I know,
get your
right?
attention.
You stink.
So Jeremy started leaving me like nasty notes on. So one of them he put
Counter, it's a go
SVC farts on one of my to-go boxes.
Classic.
And then so I started going in there and be like, Jeremy stinks, just like
Oh,
yelling.
man. I need to go in there so bad. I'm
It's
so
been
bad
actually-
at doing anything
Hey,
local.
next
Like
time
I
I
just don't have
go-
no time. Like
Next time I go, I'll text you.
yeah, please do.
You'll probably
come
be
by.
out of
I
state,
really
but
want. Yeah.
But I kind of and it's for Savannah.
I'm gonna FaceTime Matt and be like, Matt's here too. He says you suck.
Bagel. But like eating air.
It's a good. I love when they come in. They usually come in on Fridays, and it's become like
Yeah.
this fun little heckling thing. I
Yeah.
gave her a little bagel the other day,
It was so cute.
and she took a photo with it. And I was like, "Your hands look fucking huge."
I put on it. You may have seen it. I said, "Is it tiny bagel or big hands?"
Oh,
and it was
awesome.
also. I'm not gonna
was an
lie.
adorable
It was not only adorable. It was one of the most delicious bagels I've ever
It's a
had.
real
I just
bagel.
like
Don't
ate
get
it like
it
that.
twisted.
It was so
So-
good.
little mini bagel.
I think that needs to be a thing is like little bagel bites because if you put that in
Oh,
a
man.
bag and you seal it, I would go to town.
Oh,
I
man.
would
like a
just
donut hole.
like a donut
They used to
hole.
throw that. They used to throw
I
those away.
love
Amy, hey,
donut holes.
there is a suggestion box. So
Yeah, use the sawdust.
I don't want to oversimplify it, but that's what's going on with Jeremy. It's stuff we've talked about on the podcast forever. If you follow me, you know I've been working on it. I'm working on it now. Like I'm in. I'm all
Yeah.
the way in.
Yeah.
How have the makers markets over at Altamont been going?
Fucking crushing, dude.
Oh yeah, did you sell out the other Saturday? Because one of my neighbors texted me. She was like, "I'm here and I don't see Jeremy anywhere." And it was towards the end of it. I was like, "He probably sold out."
He's inside drinking. No.
Highly likely.
Well,
No, I mean that's what things are going good, and like to be, being a full-time vendor now, like Altamont, they take care of, like they don't charge us to be there. The normal rate
So
for
good.
something
Nice.
like that is
That's
$50
great.
to $100 a show on top of the seasonal fee you pay just to be
At the
there.
events I was at, it's $10,000.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a big number, bud.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
They give you, they give you beers for free.
That's nice.
They just tie you into the marketing horsepower that they are. So like, shout out to Altamont.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
For bringing, and then they promise you 700 people. Like,
Yeah.
sick. So no, Altamont's going great. I love it. And like David and I, and even as a kid, loving farmers markets and markets, I was like, if I wasn't making money there, I'd be there spending money there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it feels great to be there. And I'm just
When's
looking
the next one?
So the next one is going to be June 15th, Bankhead Plaza. You'll be seeing
that's right.
information and details on that. We'll be there all day. 10 to 4, and then Altamont Summer Series is all summer long, the last weekend of every month, the last Saturday of every month. So, and you can find me on shelves, Grounded. I'm at Wing and Bakery. I'm at Cheese Parlor. I'm at James Fine Food. I work with a couple of people like Chef Debbie here in town. And if I'm doing my job right, I shouldn't be hard to find.
And you can order it online too.
And you can order online. I
Can't tell you how many times are sitting there and you're like, "Sick, got another order."
So I love that part. So
Can I ask you a loaded question?
yeah,
What's the goal?
the goal.
Not get pushed by me.
12-month goal maybe.
Yeah.
The 12-month goal.
And then I'm going to ask for the vision.
Yeah, so I'd say the 12-month goal is to get the combination, and get the website to a point. So I don't want to say I fear it, but what I don't want to rely on is a brick and mortar. Coming from
Yeah.
restaurants, rent and
It
overhead.
traumatizes you.
It traumatizes you,
Yeah.
but it
Tell me about it.
It shackles you.
Matt literally just had a whole conversation about how traumatic it is. Just like
Tell me
yesterday
about
morning.
it.
So it shackles you, right?
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, 12 months from now, my website and the combination of what I do in wholesale. So that's what Wingin buys. That's what Cheese Parlor buys in retail to put on their shelves.
Your B2B.
Makes enough money to support a brick and mortar so that when the brick and mortar happens, everything else is cake. So that I can make nimble business decisions that are progressive. That's not always the way it happens. Throw in labor, throw in things, but for starters is like I want my website to make the money it needs to make because everyone's like, you're just hardwired to be like, I can't wait to get in a building. I can't wait to pay rent. And I can't wait to lock in a lease for 5 fucking years and pay, 46%
It's not that great, let me tell you. Yeah, it's not that
46%
cool.
labor cost.
Right.
No, why don't you get your website that you pay $300 a year for to make $75,000 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And start there.
Monthly,
So,
right?
Yes, that part too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What how do you vision the whole entire brand? Like, what does it look like? Is it like a premium brand at some point? Does it stay really like local and true? Like, do you want to be in like Costco?
Yeah.
Which obviously changes the whole entire business model, or like, what does
So,
that look like? Long-term vision now.
JTM in the kitchen. Let's see. So the answer is yes. I have varying SKUs and brands that I want to touch different markets. I have a brand and I'm happy to say because I've already trademarked it. It's called Wine Spice. That's going to be my higher end brand that comes out when it's ready. And that's the one you're going to buy in Crate and Barrel and Williams Sonoma. And it's going to be a little too expensive, but it's going to be valued. It's going to be worth it because all the other stuff that it comes with.
Sell to rich people. It's so much easier.
Exactly.
Hence
JTM
Williams
in the
Sonoma.
JTM in the kitchens and stuff. I just want in your pantries. That's the stuff I want you to do every night. That's playful packaging, serious ingredients. I want taco night to be easy. I want steak night to be easy. I want to be approachable.
I love good packaging.
And then I would like and JTM is what I think will be a little more hyper local, in and out model. Wine Spice is something I could see in every Whole Foods, every Williams Sonoma, every Crate and Barrel, and then my chili oil and specifically will be packaged differently at some point.
I'm addicted to that.
That it could be its own brand on its own.
Yeah.
That feels and ties into JTM in the kitchen, but that's a chili oil. It doesn't need.
If you have not gotten the chili oil yet, don't because I want to buy it all.
Yeah,
please
so
don't. Please
at least,
stop
and
buying
that's
it.
what I have in my head.
I love it. And I know
chili
I've
oil is
already
so fucking
said this
good.
before, but I'll say it here on the podcast. Maybe you'll get some pressure from other people too. The differentiator, I think, and I think the thing that would really transcend anything else, especially like you talked about the brick and mortar piece of it, which would make that even easier, is 2 cameras, 2 cameras, a computer, a strong upload, 10 MPSs. Okay. Get your little rail system. You know, we could probably even have a homie hook it up. You do 1 camera on a rail system that we could move.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll come and help you set this whole entire thing
Come
up.
on.
Okay.
Well, his kitchen is being remodeled too.
1 camera on a rail system. Okay. This is your food camera.
Yeah.
And you could just move and slide it. 1 camera and a fixed tripod. That kind of gives you your bird's eye, but also you speak to directly.
Yeah.
We do a wireless mic. We hook you up to a wireless mic. We hook the other camera up to the wireless mic. So we feed in audio. You go live and you cook consistently 1 night a week. And you become JTM in the Kitchen media company
Dude.
that on the side sells the spices. And that's how you build your audience. And then we scale those spices.
I'm all in on
All
that.
right.
Jeremy really is getting his kitchen remodeled.
I
And
know
he's
we've
really
talked
excited
about it.
about
We
it.
talked about it before, but I want to put it out there in
Funny
like a
enough,
public
because
forum
that's
because
exactly
I
how
think that's
JTM in the Kitchen started.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I think you would kill
so
with that,
it
dude.
started like this in the pandemic, which I
Exactly
logged
that.
into some of these, and
Shout
so
out to Nottingham and Colin.
Jeremy did like a whole like session where we would like you would log in Zoom wise, like you would register for it and you would
Yeah.
log in, and Jeremy
Yeah.
would do cooking. Like
Yeah.
it would just be like a cook with Jeremy thing.
And it probably didn't come out this way, but like if anyone that's our age or a little bit older, like we grew up in the Emerald Lagasse era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bam.
Hey,
blah.
is your kitchen, can you cook in it right now? Even though it's being remodeled?
No.
No.
I
The
mean,
second you could cook in it, here's what I'm going to do. I have all this shit already, okay? I'm going to come over. We're going to do it together. And I'm going to set it up, and I will show you how to do the whole setup. I'll bring my cameras. I'll do the whole entire thing. We will go live. We're going to do it live.
let's fucking
And
go,
you're going to go
bro.
live. We'll do it on the TTG.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it on the TTG.
Shout out to
Because I
that.
mean, that's a lot of it. Is like I also haven't. So you know, you talk about the not quite the barriers, but the things that scare you.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the setup.
I'll show you the setup. It's super
think
simple.
too
I'm
much
gonna
about it.
I'm gonna make you so I'm gonna make it so
Matt,
simple.
will you come over to my house
Make it
too then?
so simple.
I'll cook
I've
for
been
you.
working
Just come
on some
over.
recipes.
No, because
I want to
think
cook
about
too.
it. It would kill. And here's immediately where I go to. This is gonna be weird. You would actually do it first to B2B and sell it to employees. The biggest thing that I did during the pandemic that hit the hardest with Wente was we did a live cooking thing. It was like healthy cooking, and you know we did the whole health and wellness thing behind it, right? Which you're already on that topic. You use real food. That's your shtick. Like you don't even
Use
need
a lot
to.
of butter, but yeah.
That's okay.
Nothing wrong with butter.
Yeah, butter's better than sugar. And so when we did that, we had the most participation in the Zoom. And here's what Wente did is we set the whole entire thing up, and you should package this for a B2B sale, right? So you set the whole entire thing up. They knew the meal ahead of time. Wente gave everybody a small little stipend to Safeway to go and buy the ingredients, right? We had the option. You could do it with meat, or you could do the vegetarian, just don't add the chicken, right? So it satisfied all these like whatever dietary restrictions. And we had the most participation on that. And what we did is Grace and I cooked it live on Zoom right then and there. Filled the comments. She interacted with the audience. We talked about why the ingredients we chose. We showed the macros, like, hey, this is how much protein you get out of this meal. This is how much carb. This is how much fat. And then they gave them the little stipend with the ingredients out ahead of time so they could cook with us if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And then we had the questions to it. If you did something like that and ran to a B2B model with it too, you could probably even receive income just for doing it. And then you also just do it live at the same time. And you just give them the recipe and the playbook ahead of time and speak directly
That's
to
what you
that
did.
audience as the live audience just observes.
We cooked it with you live, right?
Yeah.
I remember cooking it.
I'm
wasn't
telling
as-
you, dude,
yeah.
that would kill. And that's your differentiator, right? So it's people, it's like, and we go back to the conversation earlier when I said people don't want to develop relationships with a brand. They want to develop relationships with a human. So now I'm with you and I'm like, dude, I want to cook the same thing. Well, hey, he uses all his own spices. He uses the chili, the chili powder, whatever, the chili oil, all this type of
You know
stuff.
what we're gonna do?
And then now you make that ingredient list for sale to all those employees. And then you have the B2B, the HR companies that are sending out that ingredient list are actually your top of the funnel sales for your own spices because it's included in the recipes that you are using.
Hey.
Oh man.
Write down JTM versus SVC in the kitchen.
Bro,
Kitchen throwdown.
You don't want the
That would
You
be
don't
even
fucking want this
awesome.
stuff, dog.
And then we do
I
a
will
camera
fuck you
setup.
up.
anything.
Well, and you could have fun episodes like that,
I feel confident in my skills.
right?
You know what?
There's a
Because
long
at the
tail
very
for
least,
it.
what I lose and I get a free meal and I learn something.
Yeah, and we have a great audience. And it's a good
Fight me in the
time.
kitchen.
And then I just
You know
eat
what
both of them.
is,
Yeah.
I just here to eat them.
there were like so there was a whole lot of progression in what you just said, but like the there's another word tied to frustrating, like the part that like I'm gladly frustrated about is like, to Savannah's point, that model is what got JTM in the Kitchen started.
Yeah.
We were cooking live out of necessity, and that's probably the biggest difference. It was necessity. Whereas like now I don't want to say I'm trying to build a business. We're trying to build businesses, like in other things.
Yeah.
But like in the purest of those moments when like something just starts is often where you can get too far away from. And you just described how we started and how it continues to grow. But like
That strategy session's going to cost you $10,000,
It was fun.
by the way.
it'll be $11,000.
That'll be $100,000 fee.
Oh
I have.
man! So
no, man, just let me have a little bit of food.
I'll take you up on that offer,
Hey,
bud. Dinner's
I
on
will.
me.
No,
My
seriously,
kitchen is
that's
not
it.
under construction, so you can come over as well and
Yeah, I
start
know,
filming
right?
stuff for me.
I see. No, because here's
I'm
the thing.
baking a cake
I'm
tonight.
going to rig it up because, like, we were talking with the guys here at Advanced Creative Studio, and if you're not using them for all your media purposes, you are probably sucking at life. But we were talking about before,
Bathrooms are great.
and like the little switcher, the little camera switcher that I talked about. I have a mini one that I bring. Like, this is what I do. That's where I traveled everywhere, and I do all the live stream, dude.
Yeah.
And we already have the YouTube channel. And if you go on your Instagram and you go on TTGs, and we promote the whole entire thing, and like, hey, drop in, come cook with us, even just drop in and say hi. You drop a comment, that really helps the algorithm. We could get a ton of attention behind it, and you cook up the meal.
We could
You
build
pre-cook
it like
some
fight
stuff if you need
nights,
to.
Bring a
SVC
bunch
versus
of-
JTM.
Oh,
We could
dude,
start
let's
getting
go.
bets.
Fuck Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
It's all about.
And we could bring in some Nancy Calhoun, grass-fed beef. We could there's something there.
Yeah, I'll come do the setup
bring
for
in
you.
Happy Acres and stuff,
Yeah.
and like you start
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so I
So
got
it's gonna happen.
I
Are we
got
still
good news.
podcasting? Or we're just
Also,
hanging out right now.
I know this did turn into more of a.
No, we're
There
not
you go.
getting to our topic. We're going to save that
What
for
I
the
do
next
want to
episode.
say is shout out to Dave Raver for the
Thank you.
Acasio
Thank you.
Sparkling,
That was the only thing he
Sparkling
said.
Malvasia.
So yeah, if you what we didn't introduce is what we're drinking today. Savannah actually had a great idea of how we continue to take advantage of this studio and new segments. They got the white drop back, the white drop studio behind us.
Yeah.
We generally drink something, enjoy something,
Yep.
and it happens fast. What we're thinking about is either following up or just separate before is like have a 6 to 10 minute recording
Yeah.
in the back before a podcast where we specifically focus on that.
Oh, that's
Before
awesome.
Or
so,
after, and yeah.
So they give you guys the wines for free. We kind of chill and drink it a little bit.
Well,
then you
half
guys
the
go
time
back and do a
people
little.
show up and
perfect,
bring
perfect,
stuff
perfect.
too, so it's like
Yeah.
we might as well talk about it because that can
Yeah.
be its own
But
separate
with
great
that
idea,
segment.
Savannah.
today it's Acasio, Dave Hendrickson. I went over there to pick up a pair of tongs I forgot earlier, and then I was like, oh shit, I'm headed to a podcast. You got anything I can
You know
drink?
who could fuck
He
you up in
was
the
like-
kitchen too? Dave.
Dave, don't
Dave is so good
don't
in the
play
kitchen.
with Dave, bro. Don't
Dave is
play.
so good in the
Battles.
kitchen.
So-
If Dave's cooking, I'm always like, I'm in.
I'm in. So go hang out with your boy Dave Hendrickson at Sidewinder and Acasio. He is our beverage sponsor for the day. We're enjoying Patisserie by Simone, who I got to meet for the first time today. And I was 99.9% positive that she was a superhero. And I met her in real life and just got to chat with her a little bit and like
Confirmed it.
The lady's she works harder than I do. Which just fuels you like, all right, boy, step
Which
it up.
must be a lot then, because you work quite a bit, dude.
She and we and people work hard, and
You
it's
know who
nice.
works really hard to make our lives really nice? Paul Halverson. And let me tell you,
Paul's a
I
good
can,
dude.
but it's like
Paul
this
set
is
us up VIP
we're
style
breaking
the
the
other
fourth
day.
wall. Does he? Does he? No,
when you were gone, we met on that day, and
Oh, what a great photo.
Jeremy did the thing that is so embarrassing to me. Just like, it's not because it's objectively anything's wrong. It's just a me thing. The idea of me ever putting anybody out or taking something, it's a whole thing. Anyways, point is, I'm sitting at my little table. I'm expecting Jeremy's going to sit
You've been to
across from
Story
me.
Coffee. It's a table for one.
Yeah.
Jeremy decides not going to sit across, going to sit next, and pulls the table over next to me.
I had a calendar,
And so
I had
I'm
things to
sitting
write
there
with.
mortified because I'm like, oh my God, we're taking up four
Two
spots. Like,
Oh yeah, because you got the chair I used to sit in. Yeah, that sucker's wild. Careful.
I have
So, anyways, Paul then came over and he was just like, "Oh, anything for my VIP customers? Show the camera." Zoom
and you
in,
guys
show
were at the
camera.
front spot too.
Yeah, bro.
And then he
he brought the
pulled over
stanchions
the
over.
Shameless.
divider and he put it around us. He was like, "Can I
Like,
get
he
you guys
wasn't-
anything?"
He wasn't quiet about it. He was like, everybody make way for the VIPs.
Gosh,
He made a hole
Paul's
down
such
the
a
You have a
good
seat
dude.
for your water bottle in your jacket.
Oh my god!
I'm not an
Amazing.
easily embarrassed person, and I was
I blame Savannah.
mortified. I was red. I was just
The
like
redder her
laughing.
cheeks got, the more Paul dug in.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
he
Savannah,
smelt it in
lock
the
it in.
air. He smelt it in
We've
the air.
ordered enough lattes to sit at 2 tables once a year, okay?
Oh my gosh,
fuck's sake.
that's awesome. Paul's such a good
Absolutely
dude.
hilarious. Paul's
Yeah.
a great dude. Paul's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I have
Everybody
so
over
much
there is
fun with
great.
him.
Yeah.
We have a good
So
time when I get
we
to chat
didn't
with
get
him.
to
Yeah.
it today, which is fine because this was a good
fine. We
episode.
had a
We
good
were
time.
excited to
How
see
long
one
have we
another.
been here?
We've
don't
been
know.
here for
Forever?
We're about an hour and probably 18 minutes into this episode.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
probably land the
It's
plane.
about
then,
time
huh?
to, yeah.
Okay.
So we're not going
That
to get
was
into our
fun.
subject, but our next
so many people are gonna be
episode-
disappointed
I know,
in
right?
you.
They'll never know, but
No, I think they'll have a good time with that. We got kind of
I think
deep
it's
there.
good.
That
And
was
well, I
good.
mean, we'll tease it. Like what we
Let's tease
wanted
it.
to get into today was like the culture of tipping, post-pandemic in
Oh, shit,
particular.
that's right. Okay, we got another one then. We because you and I,
so-
that'll be another hour.
Because that in itself is a spicy conversation.
Yeah.
And
You know what? We're going to treat it like it's court or like it's a debate. You have to provide your argument right now, and then you get like a week to work on it, and you have to come back and defend it.
dude, it's gonna be.
We have to
Amazing.
randomly draw what our opinions are, and we're like,
So
fuck.
I'm saying I brought it up to a couple
Amazing.
people before the podcast, and like before finishing my sentences, they already were like all in.
What was the overall like consensus?
The overall consensus is that tipping right now, the culture of tipping is outrageous. You know, they have words like guilt tipping, tipflation is a real Reddit account right
Oh,
now.
really?
Inflation.
That could
And you know, as both
could've
you know,
gone
as both
a
like we,
different
no one
direction.
advocates for this industry harder than we do. So like, don't start judging us before we dive into the topic. But
I'm an
it is a
aggressive
polarizing
tipper.
conversation, and even as someone who's been in the industry for 10 plus years, is like there are certain things where you're like, oh, they turn the screen around, and you're like, it's just ask you. I need to answer a
I'm
question.
at a grocery store, sir. You haven't done anything, and we're going to start at 22%.
And the joke was, before I was at before this, they were like, "Yeah, what you know?" He swears it was real, but I know he's fucking with me. A cop gives someone a ticket, pulls the screen around, and it's a tip.
That's amazing.
And it's a tip.
Hey,
But,
bro,
like-
that's pretty much where we're at these days.
And I was
Let's
like,
not-
"Dude, don't play with me."
I'm an aggressive tipper, and I don't know like where that maybe that came from when I worked at Casamigos. We had a saying of like, again though, this wasn't my own money when I tipped like this. So we always tipped 30% in all of our accounts. It was a
company's paying for it.
30% minimum. But like my boss always used to say, this was like one of the things that he used to say that I liked was like be a mensch, which is like this Yiddish word for like just be like extra giving, like be extra like generous and
You
stuff
better
like
be extra
that.
hospitable first.
Yeah, but again, like in that atmosphere, when you're the one who's like coming in and I'm supporting an account, like I would always tip extra. And so maybe it was something that just kind of stuck with me. I don't tip 30% now, but I pretty much always
30%
I
is
always
wild,
tip.
bro.
Like whatever I see, I tip
we
regularly.
are. Let's not get it twisted. In this room, we are good tippers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if
We
I,
work in
without
that industry.
diving
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the episode and the topic,
episode.
which we'll say for the next, the consensus is saying that it is the expectation and the attitude around it currently. So with that
Can I tell
said,
you guys
The entitlement.
something that I did that was really
No,
bad
no,
one
no.
time? Wait, hold on. It's just
Nope.
a teaser.
okay, go ahead. Just a
It better be a
tease.
teaser.
Just a splash. Just a splish splash.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Pun intended. Get it?
I was at a place one time, and I won't say where because I'll probably get in trouble for this.
The
I was at
Angus.
a place one time, and the person in front of me took up all the time in the world, like was literally ordering the most, was doing all these things, and they like paid, and again, they like held up like the whole line, and they didn't tip, but I walked up just fast enough to go boop, and I tipped for them.
Oh,
I can give you something.
that's technically theft.
I think I
I'll
should.
never.
Savannah's out here catching cases.
Oh man.
Am I a fiction writer? Did it really happen? You don't know.
You never know. That
Is
could
this
just be
just in my
Oh, that's
story?
right. Is
That
it just
could be
check out the
her
blog
thesis,
next Tuesday?
so-
Go to Savannah's Instagram
Fucking
and
A,
see
man.
the link there.
I may or may not have done that.
we'll
I'll
hear it.
never
And
tell you where.
I got a couple 100% tip stories too, so we'll get into it next time.
So that's going to be the next episode if we don't decide to do a little bit of reviews or a little bit of both. But we're excited to be in this space. The new studio is rocking. If you're interested or even slightly interested, you don't have to commit all the way, but like hit us up. We're happy to make a connection with you. If you have something to say or you think you might have something to say, come and fuck with the studio.
Oh, yeah.
And like at the end of the day, you don't have to publish it, but try your idea out for yourself. So that's all I got to say.
Fuck it, you have to publish it.
It's been a little bit. We've got 8-10 episodes lined up for you here. We got Cured Fish Bar lined up. The one and only Apple from Wing and Bakery, our general manager,
that'd be
is
cool.
actually
We got her
going to
to
join
commit.
us.
That'd be cool.
Patisserie Simone has, at least her eyes said she was interested. We haven't locked in a day yet, but we're going to get her as well. We're excited to be back. Studio's ready, and I think that's it for today. Any last sentiments there over on that side of the table?
Stoked to be back, and when I saw the schedule come out, I was like, yes, this works really well for me. So I'm stoked to be back, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Okay.
Ready to rock and roll.
I'm equally excited. I missed it. It'll be nice, and it's nice to be back with you guys and be back with the audience.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, just lastly, summer is upon us. Blacksmith Square expansion has begun. So look forward to a couple new retail building spaces and wonderful restaurants coming this summer. The Altamont Summer Series is live the last weekend of every month, every Saturday throughout the summertime. Vasco Row Block Party is scheduled for July 27th. Taste Our Terroirs in October. Livermore is turned on, y'all. It's summertime. So when it's not 100 degrees, we cannot wait to party with you. Otherwise, TTG, remember to eat local, drink local, live local. We got to get the fuck up out of here.